There's a message whispered across many religious traditions, a message that says, do not seek your happiness in this world. It sounds humble, it sounds spiritual, but beneath it, there's a subtle assumption that this life is something to be endured, not lived. That finding tranquility belongs somewhere far away, in heaven or the afterlife, but not here, not now. And yet, if we look closely, that idea carries a poison, because when we're told not to expect peace here, we stop looking for it where it actually lives, in the present moment. We begin to live with our eyes always fixed on the horizon, waiting for something beyond death to deliver what is already waiting quietly inside us. Part 1. The Afterlife Obsession and Performative Goodness. For many deeply religious people, everything they do is driven by a kind of cosmic bookkeeping, a tallying of rights and wrongs, kindnesses offered and sins avoided, all in hopes of arriving at a destination where peace finally begins. They talk about heaven with certainty, not as mystery, but as a reward, as if God were a judge handing out prizes to those who followed the instructions closely enough. In these communities, love often takes the shape of obligation. People help one another, they forgive, they serve, but it doesn't always feel alive. It feels sometimes like performance, a way of proving to God and to each other, look, I'm good. I'm doing it right. I belong in paradise. But real love does not emerge from fear. It does not bloom when the soil is control. When goodness is merely a strategy to avoid punishment or win eternal rest, it becomes hollow. Part 2. The mind trapped in duality. The root of this distortion lies in duality, the ancient tendency of the mind to split the world in two. Good and bad, right and wrong, light and dark, heaven and earth, spirit and body. This isn't just a mental habit. It becomes a way of being, a lens through which everything is filtered. In that framework, certain emotions are welcomed. Peacefulness, gratitude, patience. These are called good. But other emotions, grief, rage, desire, confusion, are feared, labeled as temptations, or dismissed as signs of spiritual immaturity. The result is a fragmented self, half accepted, half rejected. The tragedy is not that we have these emotions, but that we are taught to exile them. We are trained to put on a smile, to rise above, to quote scripture instead of actually feeling what we feel. This is where presence begins to die, not because we lack it, but because we resist the very experience it needs to unfold. Part 3. Why clinging to good and rejecting the bad kills presence. Presence is not about being calm all the time. It is not about staying positive or thinking holy thoughts or pushing away discomfort. Presence is the full willingness to be with what is, before the mind interprets it, before it judges, before it divides the moment into acceptable and unacceptable. When we reject the parts of life that hurt, our grief, our shame, our fear, we block the flow of energy that would otherwise move through us. Emotions are not meant to be suppressed or controlled. They are meant to rise, to be felt, and to pass. But when we resist them, they get stuck. They harden. They return again and again, asking to be acknowledged, not fixed. Likewise, when we cling to what we call good, happiness, kindness, clarity, we begin to chase. We begin to grasp. And the more we grasp at the good, the more we fear its opposite. We become controlled by what we want to feel and terrified of anything that threatens it. This is the subtle tyranny of duality. It convinces us that peace exists only in the absence of suffering. But the deeper truth The non-dual truth is that peace lives within suffering too, if we're willing to stay present with it, without trying to escape or justify it. Part 4. The lie evil would tell us. If I were evil, and I don't mean theatrically evil, but quietly, strategically manipulative, I wouldn't try to destroy people with chaos. I would convince them that peace is only available after death. I would tell them that they have to earn rest by being good according to a standard I define. I would make them fear their own shadows. I would teach them to reject half of reality and cling to the other, ensuring they are never whole, never balanced. And once that belief takes root, they wouldn't need me anymore. They'd police themselves. They'd fear themselves. They'd teach their children to do the same. And all the while, they'd be missing the life right in front of them, the presence that is always here, quietly waiting to be felt. They would spend lifetime after lifetime trying to become something they already are. Part 4. The way out is the way. In many spiritual teachings, including non-duality, point to a deeper path. Not a rejection of life, but a full immersion in it. Not escaping the world, but seeing through the illusion that something is missing. As paradoxical as it sounds, the way out of suffering is through it. The way to peace is not by rising above your humanity, but by descending fully into it, with presence, with tenderness, with the kind of honesty that doesn't need to prove anything. This is why the mystics always sound so different from the theologians. They speak not of heaven as a future prize, but of union as a present reality. Rumi said, "Don't seek the water, become the thirst." Ramana Maharshi said, "You are awareness." Awareness is another name for you. And Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." They were not speaking of doctrines. They were pointing to presence. They were pointing home. Part 6. Reclaiming the sacred now. What if nothing is missing from this moment? What if peace is not something you find after you die, but something that reveals itself when you stop running? To stop running doesn't mean you stop feeling pain. It means you stop dividing your experience. You stop labeling one thing as me and another as not me. You begin to see that grief, too, is holy. That doubt is not the opposite of faith. It is its doorway. When you allow the full spectrum of emotion to move through you, without clinging, without resisting, you begin to taste the real stillness that non-dual traditions speak of. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not even always pleasant. But it's true, and it's whole. And in that wholeness, something quiet begins to bloom. A kind of peace that isn't dependent on circumstances. A kind of love that doesn't need reward. A kind of clarity that doesn't come from being right, but from simply being here. Closing thoughts. If religion has taught you to reject your darkness, to strive endlessly to be good, to fear what you feel, and to mistrust this moment, know that there is another way, a quieter way, a deeper one. It's not about becoming better. It's about becoming real. The truth is, presence has never left you. You've just been taught to look past it. So the invitation is simple. Come back. Feel everything. Stop chasing heaven. Start noticing this. Because maybe, just maybe, this is the sacred place you've been searching for all along. If this message resonates, if something in you is ready to stop striving and start remembering, then you may find a deeper companion in my book, available on Amazon. While this video explores the subtle ways we lose presence through duality, fear, and performance, The book offers a grounded path for reclaiming the sacred in everyday life. Rooted in the teachings of Anastasia from the Ringing Cedars series by Vladimir Megre, the book gently guides you toward creating a space of love, a physical and spiritual sanctuary where your connection to the earth, to the self, and to the divine becomes real again. It's not a book of theory. It's a quiet invitation to live differently, to grow a life that reflects the peace and wholeness you've always carried inside. Both this video and the book are doorways leading back to what was never lost, to presence, to simplicity, to the sacred now.